Is Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2 peak DBZ gaming, or has time left it in the dust? I'm Joe, an ex-gaming industry pro, and today we're challenging your nostalgia and reviewing Raging Blast 2. Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2, released in 2010 by Spike and Bandai Namco, brought fast-paced, chaotic 3D combat with a massive roster of over 90 characters, including my favourite, Kui. Despite its potential, the game didn't sell well, and after that, Dragon Ball games started exploring other genres. But with Sparking Zero on the horizon, we might be returning to the beloved 3D combat that defined this era. So, does Raging Blast 2 still hold up over a decade later? Wait until you see the character roster, it's one of the wildest things, but we'll circle back to that later on. The game is a 3D arena fighter, where characters fly around huge battlefields, launching energy blasts, executing rapid combos, and of course, transforming into their many iconic forms. The gameplay is fast and chaotic, but not without some frustrating mechanics. Unlike other Dragon Ball games, there's no story mode with cutscenes here, which can be a bit disappointing for fans who like to relive the anime's key moments. But for a 2010 game, there's still a lot of content to dive into, including the unique OVA packaged with the game, Plan to Eradicate the Super Saiyans. Or if you're a TFS fan, Plan to Eradicate Christmas. When I first jumped on Raging Blast 2, first time I've ever played by the way, I was stunned at how well the game had aged. The characters look great, and the effects during battle, especially the energy blasts and transformations, really capture the Dragon Ball Z feel. The music got me hyped, but once I got into the tutorial, I realised that while it'll probably be a lot of fun, there are going to be some really frustrating moments. Let's start with the combat. It's fast, it's flashy, and it's all about keeping the pressure on your opponent. But here's one thing that totally threw me off: the 1 health point fights. The concept of starting a fight with only 1 HP might sound like a cool challenge, but in reality, it absolutely sucks.
I am Super Vegeta!
I was up till 3 in the morning watching Super Vegeta go through Groundhog Day. This dedication, by the way, deserves a subscribe, or Super Vegeta over here is going back with the androids. I managed to conquer my demons using the power of Google, and found that there's a power-up that just completely nullifies the 1 HP part of the challenge. A bit pointless, no? Another frustration point for me was the flow of fights being ruined by enemies slowly stepping outside of your attack range, or taking the fight underwater so the camera struggles. However, the pure fun and chaos of the combat outweighed these annoyances fairly quickly. The combat was fun, but deeply complex, and I can't help but feel I was out of my depth with it, especially as I couldn't get past the tutorial. I'm sure someone who's a lot better than me would get a lot more from it. There seem to be a lot of combos you can do, and cool mechanics like slamming someone into a cliff, but the game still allows you to have fun without necessarily being good. Now, as I said, the combat was still chaotic and fun as a whole, but I can't help but feel disappointed by the lack of iconic Dragon Ball theme songs. Sure, the original music is pretty good, but go listen to Vegeta's Super Saiyan theme, or Gohan's Super Saiyan 2 theme. The last one I mentioned is absolutely beautiful, so it's a missed opportunity for sure. They could have at least thrown in a classic "Find the Dragon Balls, look out for them all." No? I'll stop. I mentioned earlier that the character selection was wild. Well, I present Super Saiyan 3 Broly. Yes, they took Broly, the absolute specimen, and gave him a Super Saiyan 3 transformation. That shampoo bill must be crazy. On top of that, you also get characters like Tarbell, Vegeta's younger brother who's barely ever mentioned, and maybe canon? Who knows? Overall, the game's roster is massive, with over 90 characters, but it is stat padding a little bit. Like, there is honestly 4 different Vegetas in this game. I also believe they count transformations as an entirely different character, so that adds up to 8 whole Vegetas. That's a lot of Vegeta.
You're Vegeta, aren't you? No, I'm Super Vegeta!
However, they do make up for this with custom unlocks while playing. These range from pictures of iconic moments to a halo to put on your character character's head. There's also alternate costumes and even upgrades for your character that improve stats in Galaxy Mode. What's Galaxy Mode? Well, I also mentioned earlier that the game is lacking a story mode with cutscenes. Well, it does have a replacement in the form of Galaxy Mode. Galaxy Mode doesn't have fancy cutscenes or deep storytelling, but it loosely follows the anime with iconic fight after iconic fight. You'll unlock new forms, and there's even special dialogue pulled directly from the anime to add a little bit more flavour.
Just so you know, I won't be holding back because you're a woman. Then again, you're an android, so you're not really a woman anyway.
It's the core of your single player experience. Every character has their own series of challenges, even quick, from simple battles to crazy scenarios like fighting multiple enemies at once, or taking on one opponent with severely limited health, or in Super Vegeta's case, taking on 3 opponents with severely limited health. It might sound repetitive, but the variation in challenges keep things interesting. Plus, Galaxy Mode is your main way to unlock new characters and collect Dragon Balls to make a wish.
You who have gathered the 7 Dragon Balls, make your wish.
I wished for 1,000 subscribers, but all I got was a new stage. Anyways, I have to say, the progression in Galaxy Mode kept me hooked for a long time. It's definitely one of the highlights that still holds up today. And speaking of still holding up, visually, Raging Blast 2 still holds up. The cel-shaded graphics capture the essence of the anime, and the special effects during fights are a treat. The audio, however, is a mixed bag. I've already mentioned the disappointment with the missing theme songs, and while the soundtrack definitely is not bad, it just feels like a fighting game wearing Dragon Ball as a skin with some of the tracks. You know, where's Dragon? Now, when I said the audio was a mixed bag, I meant more the soundtrack. The voice acting in this game is bang on and makes you feel like you're really part of that universe. They also have an English dub option, so if you're like me and you much prefer the dub, then you're still able to enjoy your favourite characters.
I didn't think it'd be much of a challenge.
So, is Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2 worth revisiting? Absolutely. For Dragon Ball fans, it's a lot of fun. For non-Dragon Ball fans, it's still a lot of fun. Just avoid staying up till 3 AM with Super Vegeta. That sounded wrong, but anyways, just be prepared for the lack of story mode with cutscenes, and the absence of iconic Dragon Ball theme songs. The rest of the negatives are outweighed by the pure fun of the game, especially if you can play with some friends. If you enjoyed this review and want to see us tackle more classics, then make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. As always, have a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, whenever you are, and see you next week for something spooky.